Thank you for using Global Tail Link.
Sorry about that. I've been feeling not too good these days, so I've actually fell asleep. And finally, the last 2 nights I've been able to sleep, but I'm that tired. So,
That's okay.
all right, let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents. I know it's been a minute since you've heard from me, and that is not because I hadn't been thinking about none of y'all. You know, because y'all been sitting up there Zooming and sitting up there looking at each other's grandmothers getting undressed and all that stuff during bar mitzvah. Sorry, they actually reported that on KTLA News here in Los Angeles, that there was a Jewish bar mitzvah and the grandmother didn't know how to work Zoom, so she thought she wasn't on camera. And the mic was muted, so all the people yelling and screaming at her while she's getting under. See, I know y'all ain't missing me, because y'all got all of that entertainment going on out there. I wanted to talk about a couple of things, because I honestly feel that a lot of people are missing the point on what's going on, because they can't see it. They've been talking about all of these people being killed by police officers. Ladies and gentlemen, people are being killed by police officers for a long time. This ain't the first time, it won't be the last. Huey P. Newton, again, as many times as he was shot, not the first time, won't be the last. And every time, the police do exactly what they've always done. They come together. This video is entitled Black Power Matters and not Black Lives Matter. It has nothing to do with skin color. It has nothing to do with race. They want to make this about race. This has nothing to do with skin color and race. I did the video showing all of
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
the reason why police officers tend to shoot at black people and no other colored person. Why? Because all of the images that they're shooting at during their practices is an image of a black silhouette. No, even though there's no such thing as a black person on this planet. And I don't care about anybody being cried for their race or whatever it is. Even though there is no such thing on this planet as a black person, because I've never seen one. Never seen anything the color of my shoes, walking the streets. Okay, this has nothing to do with that. This has everything to do with the perception. Throughout the centuries, what they have done is they have made everybody and their grandmother think that people with darker skin tone are black. They associated that title. Why? Because they couldn't come up with any other word. So this has nothing to do with that. This has everything to do with subconscious perception. So, all of these marches, all of these little so-called rallies, all of these individuals blowing things up, all of the police sitting up there talking about their lives matter, all of these other individuals talking about their life. None of that stuff is important. Since I was a kid, I've been hearing about all of these marches. I told you, my father, he would go and he would speak to the people hanging out on the corners, and some of them would have their little beer bottles in their little brown bags, and they would sit up there and they'd talk. I've been listening to this stuff all my life. Now, mind you, even though I grew up in the projects, I didn't hang out in the projects. So, in the projects, I'm not considered black. I'm okay with that. But I also got a chance to be every other place: New York, Arizona, California, New Mexico, New Mexico, Puerto Rico. I got a chance to travel. I got a chance to go anywhere and everywhere I've ever wanted to go. Got a chance to meet the different cultures, got a chance to meet the different races, and I was just listening to NPR this morning, and they were talking about race relations in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, and talking about the segregation that was going on. I witnessed that firsthand when I went to Wisconsin. I got arrested because I was talking to, as I've done a video, a white secretary. The only thing I was asking her is if she knew anybody who would want to take care of the dog that I had. It was a Labrador Retriever. It was a puppy. I said, I have no place to put it, and I can't keep it in the hotel. And I got arrested that same day for talking to her. So I'm speaking from experience. I've already did the video showing you how two black police officers took me out of my car and slammed me on the hood of my car in my neighborhood in front of my mother and brothers and sisters. And they had to put the handcuffs on me around the corner a couple of blocks away because they thought there were going to be a riot because everybody was coming out of their houses at that time and they weren't smiling. And I'm laughing at the officers because all of a sudden they're afraid. The problem is not the police. It hasn't been the police from day one. That's where they want you to focus. So pay attention. The problem is not the police. The problem is not the laws, even though the laws are racially created. The problem is not the laws. The whole problem with all of this junk that's going on is the district attorney and the district attorney's office and the prosecutor's office. That's where your problem is. Why? Because they are the ones who decide to prosecute the police. They are the ones who decide to charge a person with a crime. That's where the problem is. Everybody keeps missing the foundation. They're hitting everything but the foundation. You want to reform something, you want to defund something, go after that office. Because every single person in prison who is of a race to where they have been targeted and been placed in there, and you have that as your greater population, are all in there because of that office. The office that wants to apologize to somebody because they falsely arrested them, because now DNA evidence says that it was a false. They know when the police are lying because they talk to the police. They'll tell them, we can't bring this. Okay, well, we'll need you to say this. Well, then you have to do it. Pay attention, people. They are not dumb. And I want you to see every single case. It was the DA's office who came in and said, we're going to charge this person and charge that person. And then they want to call in the FBI to investigate. And look at how in every single instance the FBI comes to investigate, and people think, oh yeah, now they're called in the FBI. Now we're going to get justice. You can't get justice. The FBI is going to rule in favor of public peace. They're not going to give anybody anything to jump on a bandwagon and say, we've been done wrong. No, we don't want no riots, so the FBI is always going to rule on that side. So if you focus on the DA's office, if you focus on the prosecutor's office, you'll see every single case, that's where the problem is. When they call a grand jury and the grand jury send people on their merry little way, the grand jury allows individuals because they decide, because who gets to see a grand jury? Have you ever sat on a grand jury? I've never sat on a grand jury. I've never been asked to sit on a grand jury. But they have these so-called grand juries, and nobody gets to know these grand juries. We don't get to know who the members are. They just put a bunch of names on a piece of paper. Again, it's the DA's office and their policies and their procedures. And grand juries are not supposed to be secret. Again,
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It's foundational. Now, I want to let you all know something. I told everybody I was working on my stuff. Now, I can speak about this now. I don't have to wait till next year or 2,000 years from now. I can speak on it now because of the way things have processed. I brought my incarceration complaint against the system in 2018. I had served everybody. I was the first one that I did. Before I did anybody else, I took care of myself. That's right, I was being selfish. But I also said that I was going to put myself through it before I put the rest of you through it. The United States government and all the other parties are in default. But the court itself is doing the best it can not to process the paperwork. Okay? But I'm okay with that. Because as long as we have proof that we served them, the default is a default, and there's nothing anybody can do to get around it. And so I'm just letting you all know that it won't be much longer. Some of you, we've asked you to be patient while we went ahead, because see, by doing the arbitrations, by doing that at the beginning, we knew we were going to meet some resistance. But we needed all the rest of you to go through the process, do your arbitration so that you would be grandfathered in. Many of you who have had the courts rule against you and vacated your awards, please understand I will be using one of my settlements from the court to hire a law firm to go in and bring in all of those cases and get yours overturned. As we told you before, there are very limited grounds to vacate an award, and it cannot be on hearsay. It cannot be because somebody wrote a motion to a court and they decide they're going to vacate it because somebody wrote a motion. They need to do more than write a motion. They need to provide proof. They need to provide evidence. And just saying something is wrong is not good enough. Okay. This is only going to be 15 minutes. Don't want to take up all your time. We can make it an hour. Those of you who are wondering about me, yes, I caught COVID-19. I've had it twice since I've been in here. So anybody who says you can't get this thing twice, the last time they didn't provide any medical help whatsoever. But they did notice that I was starting to get better, and they couldn't figure out why. Because I held on to the antibiotics that I received the first time. And I took antihistamines. Why? Because I knew something about COVID. It attacks the lungs. And usually individuals catch pneumonia. Well, the antihistamines was to dry out the pneumonia, and the antibiotics was to kill the bacteria, which is what causes pneumonia. And then they gave me Tylenol to get my fever down. I went as high as 106.8. So they gave me Tylenol. But what happens is they gave me a stack of Tylenol, here, take these. And then when they saw that I was getting better, all of a sudden, they want to come in and take all the Tylenol and say, no, we'll dispense these to you. Because they didn't know that I was taking the antihistamine. They didn't know that I was taking the antibiotics. They weren't expecting me to get better. They were only checking my temperature and my blood pressure every day. They weren't doing anything. They were providing no medical treatment whatsoever, and that's just the prison system here. If you guys really want to do someone a favor, I'm at the Chino Correctional Institution for Men. It's called CIM, Correctional Institution for Men. What the captain and the warden of this facility have done is they had infected individuals in a particular dorm. Our dorm was no one being infected. We were completely free and clear. Everybody had tested negative. They moved individuals from the infected dorm into our dorm, 5 of them at one time. Now remember, they are supposed to check after the second day. So they tested us after the second day and then moved the individuals back over to the other dorm on the third day. At least 8 people ended up going to the so-called other facility where they quarantine individuals because they got sick. Then there was myself. Then there was, while I was gone for 2.5 weeks, all of a sudden I'm hearing other people falling out in this pod that I'm in. Other people collapsing. This is what they've done. And they did it on purpose. So then they took people who were infected and they put them in the other dorms. Now, I don't know the logic and the ignorance behind that stupidity. I know that the warden is nobody who deserves anybody's respect on any planet. And I know that the captain, that wide-bodied, sorry, whew, I apologize. I got to collect myself because I can't stand that heifer. See? I've gotten better.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
If you want to do something, understand this prison has sent so many inmates to other prisons and has infected every single one of those prisons. That's what's going on in the prison system here in California. You want to do something about it? Make that known. Make that known. All right. Remember, Black Power, the power is in you understanding what's really going on and understanding it's the DA's office, the foundation. That's the issue. With that being said, have a good evening, have a good night, have a good bye. I'll call back when I can.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Okay. Bye.